Welcome back, and in today's video, which is better? Is it Hedera's HBAR, Internet Computers ICP, or we're also going to actually include here Cardano's ADA? What we're going to be doing is going through the metrics of these blockchains. We're going to be looking at the dashboards. We're going to be looking at all of the different metrics and understand which of these coins is better as we are now entering into what I believe is the final stages of the 2025 cycle. And Cardano, at this point in basically the middle of 2025, Cardano is the number 9 crypto with $25 billion in market cap. If we scroll down a little bit further down, we can see Internet Computer here is $2.7 billion, number 36. And Hedera is a little bit further up in between the two from my recollection right here, $8.3 billion. So we have on the low end Internet Computer from a market cap perspective, then we have Hedera's HBAR, and then we have Cardano. Effectively, where we are today, Cardano is $25 billion, and Internet Computer is $2.7 billion. So effectively, just if Internet Computer reached the valuation of Cardano, it would be about a 10x from where we are when I'm recording this video. And so just from a valuation perspective, there's definitely a lot of opportunity in Internet Computer, and then that followed by HBAR, and then followed by Cardano, which has maintained its top 10 status in the crypto world since it first launched back in 2017. But we're going to be going through all of the data, all of the metrics, and understand which is better. Don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss a new video. We upload almost every single day right here on the channel to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. And remember, thumbs up are free, but crypto is not. Let's get right into it. So we're going to be looking at all of the metrics of these blockchains, understand what these blockchains are trying to achieve. What is their goal, right? For instance, Bitcoin, store of value, payment transfer, large quantity kind of assets similar to gold, silver, but in the new digital age. Ethereum, right? A decentralized finance platform built to, enable smart contracts, which are basically the new wave of financial transacting, right? Where you're not having to rely on an intermediary, right? In what's considered a decentralized, trustless ecosystem. And obviously, Ethereum is meant for other things as well. You can transact with it, you can stake it, you can loan and borrow against it. So there's a lot in the financial world that's building on it, right? There's clear goal, there's a clear kind of pathway to get there. And what the crypto ecosystems used to do very, very good was create roadmaps. Now, we just released a video recently called the 2025 ICP roadmap. I would definitely recommend watching that video. Just type in the Cryptoviser ICP roadmap. You'll be able to find that video fairly quick here on YouTube. And in that video, we go through kind of what the Internet Computer is trying to achieve, not only in this cycle, not only in 2025, 2026, but really beyond that. What is their goal? Well, let's kind of start with Internet Computer and Hedera, and then we'll go to Cardano to really understand what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve at a very large scale, global level. Internet Computer, as we've reported extensively on this channel, is really trying to achieve world computer status, right? The ability to compute from a cloud perspective that's decentralized and also not relying on one, corporate intermediary like Google Cloud or Amazon Web Services. This is needed in certain industries that are global, where there needs to be privacy protections as well. And the other thing that Internet Computer is trying to go for is the AI compute platform, which is very difficult to achieve because of all the bandwidth, energy, and compute power that you actually need to process AI data. And then not only analyze and process it, but then be able to figure out a response. This is what Internet Computer is really trying to achieve. And as we're going to be discussing, there's really no other blockchain out here. Even the artificial superintelligence crypto ecosystem, which includes the Fetch AI ecosystem, the Singularity Net, and also the Ocean Protocol ecosystem, these merged in 2024 to create what they consider the artificial superintelligence crypto. But meanwhile, there's no actual product. And on Internet Computer, as we've shown, there is an actual AI product already live using LLMs or large language models that are built and computing through the Internet Computer's decentralized network nodes around the world. We've covered this pretty extensively on the channel. So if you haven't watched, you got a lot of catching up to do. But that brings us to Hedera. Like, where does Hedera sit? What is Hedera trying to achieve? And by the way, Internet Computer is trying to achieve other things as well, but their real main category is compute, cloud, AI compute, kind of like all encompassing the high performance computing kind of, but from a decentralized perspective. Now, when we look at Hedera, which again is number 18 crypto, Hedera is also kind of in this spot where they really have a niche, right? What is their niche? Their niche is being run by large multinational global corporations. We've talked about this where the global council for Hedera, and by the way, I am versed on all three of these ecosystems, but I'm not like in these ecosystems 100% of the time. So I may get some things off a little bit, but the general theme of what I'm talking about, I think does still stand and is still valid and accurate. But as always, do your own research. Don't trust what I'm saying, trust but verify. Anyway, so what we're seeing here with HBAR is the corporate blockchain, right? It's built by the corporations for the corporations. They're the ones running this ecosystem. Now, obviously, there's other things that could be created, decentralized apps and all of this, but really what Hedera is, in my view, is kind of this corporate ecosystem of blockchains for the corporate, right? And so they wanted to get involved in the crypto and blockchain technology, and they did, right? Not only with Hedera, but also with HBAR. They could have chosen not to create a coin for Hedera, but they chose to, which is very opposite of what Coinbase did with their blockchain base. There's no coin. They say there never will be a coin, and they're not trying to, quote, monetize it, even though they are monetizing it. Anyway, this is about Hedera. So we know it says Hedera is the most used, sustainable, and enterprise-grade public blockchain network of decentralized economy that allows individuals and businesses to create powerful decentralized apps. And so if we think about, like, you have multiple conglomerates, multinational conglomerates working together to create this ecosystem and govern it, right? Make sure that it's doing what they need it to do from a, whatever they're using it for, whether they're using it for, supply chain tracking, or they're using it for a smart contract ecosystem, or they're using it for transaction verification. I mean, there's so many different things that corporations can use this kind of technology for to enhance their overall business and also lower costs. And so that is really kind of where Hedera is, right? It's designed to be fair, more efficient system that eliminates some of the limitations older blockchain platforms face. We know it was funded through an ICO, the HBAR token. And so, I mean, essentially, they are the corporate blockchain, right? So Internet Computer is the AI and world compute platform. Hedera is the corporations blockchain and where they govern it. And then we have Cardano, right? Now, Cardano is and has been top 10 crypto since it was put into existence. Now, granted, Cardano may have exited for like a few days, but generally speaking, it's been in the top 10. Now, the next thing we have to understand is what Cardano is trying to achieve. Now, I've been following Cardano since 2017, and they've gone through many different cycles as the Bitcoin halving cycle brings us through many different bull and bear runs. But Cardano has also kind of gone through these changes of what they're going after, right? When they first started in 2017, I don't even think Charles knew what Cardano was going to be or wanted it to be, right? Because a lot of these cryptos were just kind of forming out of forks of other coins. And then the new coins that were starting, like Cardano, there was no idea behind smart contracts and proof of stake and all of this kind of thing. There may have been the concepts of it and the discussions and research of it, but it wasn't actually in use or in production. And so we didn't even have that. So I don't even think they knew what Cardano was. I think it was kind of like a shot in the dark for this new technology. And then over time, it's evolved to what it is today. But what is Cardano today? Well, we know Cardano's proof of stake. We know that they've change makers, innovators, visionaries, whatever. They do a lot of research on the technology, or they did a lot of research on the technology. what is Cardano trying to achieve, right? This is one thing that I've struggled with trying to figure out, right? Because what I've talked about, especially this cycle specifically, is that Cardano's trying to chase narratives, right? Is Cardano the smart contract platform? Is it the financial operating system of the world? Is it going to go after AI? Is it built in America, or was it built in Japan, or was it built in Hong Kong? Like what is Cardano today? Because here's the deal, a lot of the Cardano ecosystem, and we're going to go through the data in just a minute, but the Cardano ecosystem, I do think previous cycle had its niche, right? It was going for financial operating system of the world, a better DeFi than Ethereum had. But when we actually look at DeFi, not much has grown on it now, right? Maybe this is because of Cardano hate. People don't like Cardano. They don't want to use Cardano. I don't know, right? But they haven't been able to achieve that. In this cycle, I feel like Cardano's kind of in a spot where the Wall Street or the builders don't know what Cardano is going for, right? As clearly as we've seen with Internet Computer and Hedera. And again, this is constructive feedback. The Cardano ecosystem, Cryptoviser, what are you talking about? We're going for midnight. We're going for, like, guys, I'm giving you my opinion. You don't agree with it, that's fine. But here's the deal. If the people are not getting the message on what the category or what Cardano is trying to achieve, that's not my problem. That's their problem with messaging and with what they're trying to project for Cardano. It's not just Cardano. We've seen a lot of different projects out, but for this video, we're talking about Cardano, Hedera, and ICP. A lot of these other projects, like I told you, ASI, Artificial Superintelligence Computer, or Artificial Superintelligence Coin. These were 3 projects that merged together, and their goal is supposed to be AI. And Internet Computer is way, way ahead when we're talking about actual AI implementation technology and use cases on the blockchain, miles ahead, because ASI doesn't even have anything. Internet Computer does. And so that's what I'm talking about with narrative. Like, what is XRP going for? The XRP community believes that Ripple is going to make them rich, but Ripple continues to tell them, we're going to continue to sell XRP on the open market. We're going to continue to build products that don't need XRP, but the XRP community is convinced that that means that they're going to get rich off of what Ripple's doing. It's clearly not, and it's not what Ripple's telling you either. So those are big disconnects from the investor versus the maximalist, right? And so Cardano does have a lot of technology, but it needs to zero in my view, on a specific category or a specific thing that they're going after, that they're trying to achieve, that they want to be really, really good at, that people are really going to look at them to be the experts on. For instance, Ethereum with DeFi, Tether with stable coins, XRP with cross-border payments through their payment rails. And again, Ripple doesn't need XRP, but they use it for now in certain circumstances, right? But we ask the same question: what is Solana going for? I mean, was it just meme coins? Was that the only thing? But anyway, back to today's video, which is better. So we have to start looking at the data. Now, before we look at Hedera and ICP, let's look at Cardano versus ICP to see the actual data. This is Chain Inspect. This is not Cryptoviser dashboard. This is Chain Inspect, which looks at the actual data on the blockchain and compares it between the individual ecosystems. And so when we look at Internet Computer versus Cardano, what we can see in real-time transactions per second, Cardano is 99% less than Internet Computer's transactions per second. You can see ICPs, at least based on this data, and if I refresh it, it's probably going to refresh to a different rate as well. Yeah, you can see here. Now, keep in mind, this is the 30 days. This is over the last 30 days. Cardano's transactions per second is less than 1, where Internet Computers is 980 per second. When we look at maximum transactions per second over the last 100 blocks, you can still see that the max TPS over the last 30 days in the last 100 blocks was, for Cardano, was 11, and Internet Computer was 25,000. So yeah. There you go. Now, I don't understand what this is, 1 block versus 100 blocks, but we're going to keep it at 100. But anyway, the max theoretical transactions per second, which is basically how many transactions per second the blockchain is theoretically capable of. This metric is calculated by taking the block size measured by the computational units and dividing it by the size of the smallest transaction possible to determine the maximum number of transactions that fit into a block. So the max theoretical transactions per second for Cardano is only 18, where on Internet Computer it's 209,000. Right, so that's what Cardano's capable of, and this is what Internet Computer is capable of. So this is a huge, huge, huge difference. I mean, it literally says the Cardano max theoretical transactions per second is 99.99% less than Internet Computer. Total number of transactions. Remember, Internet Computer was started and launched in 2021. Cardano launched in 2017. So they have one cycle in between them. And Cardano total transactions, it's showing here over 30 days. Keep in mind, this is a 30-day time frame, is 919,000. So just under 1 million transactions. Meanwhile, Internet Computer has 2.5 billion transactions over the last 30 days. If we look at block time, you can actually see that Cardano block time is 42 times more than Internet Computer block time, meaning Internet Computer is significantly faster. Now, you can actually see this live on the Internet Computer dashboard. You can see how fast the transactions actually do process. If we're looking at, I don't know, they just changed their, what do you call it? This dashboard. So there's a lot of differences here. But yeah, you can see here, even here, it's showing the equivalent transactions per second on Ethereum would be 682,000 transactions per second. So you can see that Internet Computer does process at a very rapid and fast pace. So Cardano's block time is about 20 seconds, where Internet Computers is half of a second. The Cardano finality, this is time until basically a block is considered final, is 2 minutes on Cardano, and it's basically under a second on Internet Computer, effectively immediate. And then some other data is coming further. Now, the Cardano community will say, but Cryptoviser, that's Internet Computer. Internet Computer is obviously better because it can process AI compute, right? To be able to process AI compute data, you need to be way faster than a financial processing ecosystem. Because remember, Ethereum is slow as well. It's not like we're just saying Cardano is slow compared to ICP, but these are different blockchains. And so Internet Computer is not really built for financial transactions, it's basically just a ledger, right? Saying, yes, this went in, this went out, this went in, this went out, this went in, this went out. Where what ICP is trying to achieve is, a compute platform, a cloud platform from a blockchain perspective. And that means you need more computational power. You need faster processing times. So it's not necessarily a good or bad thing for Internet Computer versus Cardano, but we're talking about underlying technology and just kind of the baseline for what it is. Obviously, Internet Computer is better than Cardano from that perspective. Now, if we look at Cardano versus Hedera, and then we're going to compare Hedera versus ICP, you can see here that Hedera's real-time transactions per second is also much faster than Cardano, 7 transactions per second versus under 1. The max theoretical transactions per second over the last 100 blocks, again, very significant. Cardano 11.6, Hedera 3,300 transactions per second. You can see the max theoretical transactions per second. Again, how much actual data can go into a block. You can see that Cardano has 18 transactions per second, and the max theoretical for Hedera is 10,000, which is pretty substantial. But I think Internet Computer was higher than that. Yeah, Internet Computer was 209,000. But we're going to be comparing those two in just a minute. You can see here over the last 30 days. Yeah, we have it on 30 days. So over the last 30 days, Cardano has had just under 1 million transactions. We covered that already. And Hedera has 18 million. So significantly more than Cardano. Block times, you can see that Hedera is 2 seconds versus Cardano is about 20-second block time. And then finality, how quick things go actually post to the blockchain. Hedera's is 7 seconds, Cardano's is 2 minutes. So you can see here that when we're talking about Cardano versus ICP, Cardano versus Hedera, Hedera and ICP are superior in terms of these metrics that we just went over. Now, these are not the only metrics to kind of look at, but this is what Chain Inspect compares. It's one of the only websites that has comparisons between the two different blockchains to kind of look at a glance. We're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive in just a minute here to help you guys understand where these ecosystems lie. So when we're looking at Hedera versus ICP, you can see that internet computer and real-time transactions per second significantly better, right? So ICP is 99% better than Hedera. Hedera is 99% better than Cardano, right? So these are huge gaps in the technology, right? Because what internet computer can process means basically it could process just as much what Hedera is doing and just as much as Cardano is doing, even maybe both those blockchains combined. You can see here max transaction per second over the last 100 blocks. Internet computer beats out Hedera again. Total transactions by multiples, right? Hedera's total transactions is 99.25% less than internet computer over the last 30 days. In the block times, internet computer beats, and finality, internet computer beats as well. So effectively, internet computer basically wiped off the board Hedera and Cardano in terms of these metrics. Now, again, these are not the only metrics, but these metrics are important for the blockchains. Not only are they important for the blockchains, they're important for the future of the blockchain, right? Because if a blockchain is not able to scale, and I'm not just talking about scale in terms of number of transactions, but also data in the transactions, processing power within those transactions. As that increases, the underlying blockchain may not be able to handle it. This is where the new conversation about whether Ethereum and layer twos is the answer. The Solana ecosystem is saying, no, layer twos is not the solution. Everything should be on the layer one. And so you have to make the layer one more powerful and better. That way it doesn't need layer twos, although the Ethereum ecosystem says layer twos are important because they take the strain off the layer one, which is the final kind of the final thing, right? The final ledger, the finality of whatever the transaction is. That's going to be finalized on Ethereum, but these other ecosystems on layer two and layer threes, they can take a lot of that load off of the main chain and then just roll everything up. Hence roll-ups, ZK roll-ups. But here's the deal. Those chains are not ever going to be able to scale to what internet computer is. This is why internet computer is 99, or the other blockchains are 99% lower than where internet computer is, because internet computer started with the understanding they want to be the internet's computer, the world computer. So becoming the world computer, you need very high power compute. And so it would have to blow the water out of Hedera, Cardano, Ethereum, all these other blockchains. And I believe, based on what we have talked about on this channel, the metrics of these ecosystems already, so early on, that internet computer did a very good job at least achieving the baseline benchmark for what compute needs to look like on blockchain. Because as you guys saw, Cardano and Hedera, there's no competition. Like, internet computer has a faster ecosystem. And so then we have to look at DeFi, right? Who's actually using these ecosystems? Now, I've criticized Cardano extensively on this channel about the lack of decentralized finance. But in this case, Cardano does actually have the most DeFi when we're talking about Hedera, ICP, and Cardano. Cardano has $351 million worth of DeFi locked in. And in ADA terms, right, in their underlying asset, it's about $500 million ADA is in DeFi. As you guys can see over time, the amount of ADA in DeFi has decreased, but that could be for many different reasons. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to speculate. If we look at Hedera, it has 90 million, right? So Cardano 351 million, Hedera 90 million. So basically about 25% of what Cardano has. And if we look at the actual HBAR in DeFi, we can see significant drop from the high in 2024 with 1.3 billion HBAR in DeFi to now basically $500 million HBAR as well. So that's a billion, about 750 million HBAR removed over the last 1 year from DeFi, not dollars, actual underlying asset. Why is that? I don't know. I don't follow HBAR historically that closely to know why, but it is very interesting that we've seen such a decline by basically about half, almost more than half, actually. This is about 70%, 65, 70% has been removed from DeFi in the last 1 year. And we're in the midst of a bull market, I would imagine. Anyway, so we have 351 million in Cardano, 90 million in Hedera, and Internet Computer 27 million. This is abysmal. This is probably the worst metric I've seen on Internet Computer, and probably the worst metric that I've seen in cryptos that I cover on this channel in terms of DeFi locked. Now, but here's the deal though, right? We have to go back to what these cryptos are going for, what these blockchain ecosystems are trying to achieve. Internet Computer is not trying to be a DeFi platform. Internet Computer is not trying to build out, bridges to other blockchains. We know this. This is one of my criticisms about Internet Computer is that Internet Computer talks about interoperability through what they call chain key technology. Chain key technology allows Internet Computer to basically move value from other chains to Internet Computer or back bridgelessly, right? Without the need of a bridge, which is different than what Ethereum or Solana or some of these other smart contract platforms do by bridging through smart contract platforms that do things like wrap tokens and stuff like that to then move value. Internet Computer uses chain fusion or chain key cryptography that allows Internet Computer to actually write and read other blockchains directly from a smart contract on Internet Computer. Now, we have talked about this extensively on the channel, chain fusion technology. So if you type in the Cryptoviser chain fusion or chain key, the Cryptoviser, you should be able to find those videos fairly easily. And make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, and do me a favor, give the video a free thumbs up. That way you never miss any new videos. And so what we can see here is that in these other metrics, Cardano was the lowest, but in the DeFi metric, even though this is one of my biggest criticisms of Cardano compared to Ethereum, Cardano beats out both Hedera and ICP in terms of total value locked. But again, ICP is not really going for total value locked, and the way that their technology interacts with other blockchains is different from this metric, right? Because most of the DeFi within Ethereum and a lot of the Ethereum layer 2s is bridged or merged coins from other chains. And so that's something to look at as well. Now, we can go all day looking at all the different network indicators like number of transactions, what the fees are, how many active wallets there are, how many new open wallets there are. But these chains are very different, and they're very similar in the same sense. How are they similar versus different? Well, I think from a price perspective and from a ranking perspective, they're very similar because Hedera has an HBAR community, the HBARbarians, apparently they're called. Internet Computer has, Internet Computer fans and holders. And Cardano has Cardano maximalists, as we would call them, who are 100% in Cardano. They never trade, they never buy, they never sell, they never give away their coins, they never take any money out from stake. They just buy, right? They put all of their money in. And they don't care about the price, even though they talk about it every single day, right? Anyway, so yeah, there's communities in every ecosystem, right? But at the end of the day, one ecosystem may not be better than another. I mean, we talk about these metrics, but you have to take these metrics into perspective, right? Because again, the Cardano community, they probably are not even watching this part of the video because they stopped at the beginning when I said Cardano has lower transactions per second because they're going to say Cryptoviser. Cardano has EUTXO model. And there's 1,000 transactions within a transaction. It's like, who cares? Who cares, right? You're trying to define that, but I'm trying to understand which ecosystem is better, right? Not by the definition of one specific category or one specific metric. I'm looking at the overall, right? Cardano has a lot going for it, right? DeFi is still fairly high. I mean, $351 million worth of coins locked in DeFi. That's a lot of money, regardless if it's not, in the billions of dollars. It's still a lot of money. When we talk about placement in the top 10, it has still been in the top 10 for basically its entire existence, where Hedera and ICP have not. And from a price perspective, ICP, when you're talking about lifetime of the coin, is down like 99.9%. Now, a lot of that we know is from the launch of the coin starting at like $800 a coin, but we're way beyond that at this point. And anybody who looks at this coin and doesn't think that we're at a potential bottom for the market and we're going to go higher based on the technology, I don't know what would make you think that then, because the technologies that we see rolling out and the collaborations that we see being had between Hedera and Internet Computer, this is huge, guys. This is really huge. And all of the ecosystems, in my view, are going to be tapping these experts, right? The same way that every ecosystem wants to get in the liquidity of Ethereum through bridging, through smart contracts, for interoperability, Chainlink, and all of those other type of Oracle projects that bring the blockchains together. They're all trying to tap into Ethereum because Ethereum is the base layer of DeFi for everything. So these ecosystems like Cardano that are not connected to Ethereum, this is a huge problem, even though the community will tell you it's not. It is. For Internet Computer does have chain key technology and the ability to interact with Ethereum, but not in a bridged way. So you're not bringing value from those other ecosystems. You're not bringing developers from those other ecosystems. Because if you think about like the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM allows other ecosystem developers to build within Ethereum on those chains, utilizing this bridged technology, this bridged cryptography language. And so this is what we need. You need high interoperability. This is something that Internet Computer does not really have, even through chain fusion technology, because other ecosystems are not using this. Cardano is the same thing. Not a lot of interoperability, almost none. This is a problem. Now, HBAR, from my understanding, does have more interoperability, but it's also not where it needs to be. And so there are some downsides to all of these very positive metrics. But again, they're all trying to achieve different things. So you have to look at the technology that they have, the technology that we're metricing, like we just went over, and understand which matters, right? Because all the metrics do matter. It's just a matter of how much they matter. And so we have to understand, does total DeFi locked on Internet Computer matter? Well, personally, I don't think it does, because ICP is not trying to be a DeFi platform. Cardano, I would say it does. Hedera, I would say it does. But then we also have to remember that Hedera is backed by large corporations. So does that really even matter? Maybe not. The main point of this whole video, right, is which is better, which is going to make me a millionaire, which is going to go far. I think that they all possibly can. It's really what you're looking for in terms of a technology to invest in. Because at the end of the day, you could say the same thing in stocks. Should I invest in Google, Tesla, or Apple? Well, somebody can give you reasons for each. But meanwhile, they're all achieving, all-time record highs, multi-trillion-dollar market caps at different points in their history. And, they all ended up working out to begin with. It just, they went at their own pace. Some achieved multi-trillion-dollar market caps faster than others. Some stayed at multi-trillion-dollar market caps longer than others, but they all did it, right? Because they were all evolving and growing and building. And that's the most important thing that we see, continual building. As much as I complain about the Cardano ecosystem, having so many maximalists, or the Solana ecosystem having maximalists, at the end of the day, those maximalists are driving the innovation, are driving the message about what the ecosystem can do, good or bad. And they're needed in these ecosystems to help grow them, to help keep pushing. It's like with a company, you have investors. Some investors vote, some don't vote. Some vote on actual voting things within the stock, shareholders, they ask for shareholders to vote on. And some actually go and demand board seats. We see Bill Ackman doing this with companies through his investing firm. And so Cardano, Hedera, and ICP are very different technologies in the same general kind of space. Which is better? I mean, personally, I'm looking at opportunity, not which is better, because I'm an investor. So the technology, I think, is going to evolve regardless of whether internet computers around, Cardano's around, or Hedera's around. It's going to continue to evolve regardless. But which is the better opportunity? Which has more opportunity to grow from a financial aspect? Is it Cardano? Well, if Cardano stays in the top 10 as crypto moves higher, Cardano's naturally going to move higher as well. Now, when I'm looking at, all of these ecosystems, Cardano, Hedera, and ICP, although they have very different rankings, I think the most potential is internet computer. And a lot of people think I'm all in on internet computer. I'm not. I actually probably should have more ICP than I do. But when we look at these, internet computer is 1/10 the valuation of Cardano. And if we understand that where the AI narrative is going, where the AI technologies are going, and that internet computer is the only blockchain, the only technology in this space right now that can run large language models on chain. And I'm sure that they have other technologies they developed over the last year that we have not yet been told about. What they're waiting on, I don't know. Maybe the markets start moving higher and then they'll start announcing to kind of propel. But I think something's brewing with ICP. I think that they have some technology they're going to release or talk about or demo, and it's really just going to any other ecosystem that claims they're an AI platform. It's just going to, show that they're not. That if internet computers not doing it, they're not doing it. Because there's a lot of ecosystems that are near protocols. Another example, oh, we're AI. Well, where's the on-chain AI? We don't see it. We don't have it. It's not there. So that's kind of my message in this video. Which is better? I don't know. That's really what you have to decide in what you're looking for in investment. Are you looking strictly for price movements? Well, maybe internet computer is there, because if internet computer, in my view, can 10x way easier than Cardano can 10x. Because internet computer 10xing would just bring the valuation basically up to where Cardano's market cap is. That's a 10x in the ICP. And some could argue that ICP has superior technology to the Cardano based on the AI and the compute capabilities. Some would argue that. So is that possible? Or are we going to see Cardano do a 10x, and where Cardano's market cap is going to be basically higher than Ethereum's is right now? Is that realistic? I don't know. I personally, I think that internet computer hitting Cardano's market cap is more realistic than Cardano hitting Ethereum's market cap. This cycle, at least. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that I'm totally off base with my analysis of these coins? Or do you agree that it really depends like what you're looking for in these technologies? Because Cardano's capabilities versus Hedera's capabilities versus ICP's are very vastly different. But from a price perspective, if you look at that technology, it's very clear that there's only one crypto that has the very high likelihood of 10xing over the other ones. Anyway, do your own research. Nothing I say is financial advice. Give this video a free thumbs up. I'll see you guys when I see you. Crypto on.